2026 is officially upon us, and that means a new year, new whiskeys, new bourbons that have been announced and coming up shortly. I've got a list of just 5 I'm looking forward to this year. There's many, many more, of course. Will I be able to find them? That's the real question. Let's go! How are y'all doing today? My name's Chris. Welcome back to Bourbon Sane. Last year, 2025, we had a great year for bourbon and whiskey. A lot of new releases, a lot of one-offs. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch my 2025 Whiskey of the Year Awards. Had a whole bunch of categories in there and just a lot of good stuff in 2025. I'm hoping we get the repeat in 2026. Only time will tell. There's been some labels that have showed up on TTB already that I'm already pretty excited about. I came up with just my top 5 that I'm most looking forward to this year. Hopefully all these aren't going to be just impossible things for us all to find. You know, there'll be some stuff we can all actually hopefully be attainable and available in our markets, all of our markets. So I didn't want to just make this list things that are going to be completely unattainable, although there's probably going to be some, I'm sure. So we're still in that type of bourbon market. But if you haven't yet, please do me a favor. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know what is that bourbon or whiskey release that you're most looking forward to in 2026. Let's go right into number 5 today. Starting out with number 5 today, and this is a label I actually saw show up on social media a few months back, and it kind of just piqued my interest and intrigued me. Jim Beam Toasted Oak. Now, toasted oak and toasted barrel finishes, not for everyone. You know, it's really not. A lot of times it gives people that astringency, a little bit of bitter oak that comes through. For me, with most things, I actually don't mind the toasted oak flavor profile, especially when it leans towards those creamy, sweet oak notes. I much prefer that. I'm okay with desserty whiskeys, you know, things that are like marshmallow forward, burnt brown sugar, burnt caramel, which in toasted finishes and toasted oak expressions, I tend to get that. Think your 1910, think your Jack Daniel's Heritage Barrel. I enjoy those flavor profiles. Again, not for everyone, and we can't expect this Jim Beam. I think it actually had a 7-year age statement on the TTB label. Doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be, but most likely. We can't expect that to be probably as deep, you know, and as rich as you're going to get on your Heritage Barrel or your 1910. But most likely, given Jim Beam's track record, it's going to be available. You know, we'll actually be able to find it in almost every single market. Hopefully it'll be one of the options along with the 7-year and the double oak they have now, to where we'll actually be able to try it for 20 to 30 bucks. You know, and for that price point and hopefully the flavor profile you get out of it, I mean, it's not going to be overproof. It's probably not going to be very high proof. I don't think they announced what it is, but it's probably going to be between 90 and 100. Hopefully 100 if we can push the distillery a little bit. But if it's something attainable, something that's at that price point, I'm willing to take the gamble for that. Coming in at number 4 today is actually a whiskey that was released for the first time at the end of 2025. And that is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Rye. Now, this bottle really got mixed reviews on social media, honestly. A lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it. I am in the love it category. I thought this was actually an incredible release, and I'm very curious to see if it's going to follow kind of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof's trajectory as far as what they've been doing with their releases. When Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, they took off that 12-year age statement. You know, the first release they had after they did that was very, very good. You know, very good batch. It was a lot of proof. I'm trying to remember what the exact specs were on it, but it was a lot of proof, a lot of flavor that came through, so it was a very good release. Subsequent releases after that Elijah Craig Barrel Proof bourbon, since then, lower age, lower proof on some of them, and honestly, just the flavor is just not near as good. So I'm hoping that's not going to be the case with this Elijah Craig Rye. They came out super, super strong on this. I mean, they're talking 12-year, 3-month age statement. It's underproofed for a barrel proof. It's 108. But who cares? It's a rye whiskey. You know, you get a whole bunch of that rye flavor profile, and that 12 years, I mean, it just adds incredible creaminess that you'll sometimes get in those aged ryes. So if they can keep these barrel proof rye releases as good as this, I'll be getting all of them if I can, honestly. Is that going to happen? I'm not convinced. We're going to have to wait and see what Heaven Hill does. Most likely it's going to be what we had with the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Pathway, where first release is great, love it. After that, probably going to fall off. But I'm going to give them a chance. We're going to see what the next release brings in 2026. And if you can find one at retail, it's worth the gamble. Coming in at number 3 on whiskeys I am most looking forward to in 2026, the Four Roses Anthology. Now, to my knowledge, this is the oldest expression Four Roses has ever done. There's been blends of old whiskey in their limited edition small batch they've had, and they had a 135th anniversary or one of those bottles that was also very high age. This is a 21-year age statement, and on the TTB label it says barrel proof. So if we get a barrel strength 21-year bourbon, I mean, we're talking like Michter's 20, Michter's 25 age and price. So I'll never find this bottle, but this is just going to be one of those unicorns I would love to try at some point. From what they say, it looks like this is going to be an OESO recipe. So that would be the 75% corn, 20% rye. So lower rye mash bill, still pretty high for Four Roses. I mean, they have a 35% rye and a 20% rye. And then the O recipe, so OESO, is the red berry kind of medium body or flavor profile, I guess, if you have yeast strain. So that's what we can kind of expect out of it. But the big thing is going to be that age statement. I mean, 21 years. It says distilled in 2001. I mean, that's crazy. Think, what were you doing in 2001? I was barely a young boy at that point. I mean, so that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Think of a 21-year-old that was get it on the year they're born. They get to try that or something. That'd be amazing, you know. So I'm looking forward to that one. If I could ever even get a sample of that, that'd be incredible, just to see what that kind of age can do to a Four Roses. I've had some of the limited edition small batches that had blends of 12, 13, 15, but at very low ratios. And it's really, really, really good. One of the best whiskeys I've had. So I can only imagine what the 21 is going to be like. And if it is truly at barrel strength, like it says, look out. Coming in at number 2 today, and this isn't necessarily a specific bourbon or whiskey, but just kind of a hope I have, any limited release or new edition from Wild Turkey Distillery. Last year, Wild Turkey had brand extension. You know, they added the 101 8-year to the American market. I thought that was a great release, you know, the 101 8-year. I loved that thing. That definitely has now replaced my regular 101. It did get bumped up to $40 to $45, but to me, for the flavor profile, you get the difference in flavor. It's worth the upgrade to me. I hate to say it, but it is. Wild Turkey just did their final release in their Master's Keep series. Master's Keep is, of course, their highest end, their BTAC line of the Wild Turkey Distillery. I'm curious to see what they're going to do now. I mean, they've had other limited releases outside of the Master's Keep in the past. You know, they had the Jimmy Russell 70th. They've had other one-offs like that, you know, they have throughout the years. So I'm curious to see. My guess is they'll probably maybe just change the branding of their higher end or their Master's Keep name. Maybe they'll still do a very limited, high-aged or experimental line, something like that with Wild Turkey. I haven't seen any labels pop up on social media, though. If you guys have seen any from Wild Turkey specifically, please do let me know or drop me down a comment and let me know. Because I'm very curious to see what's brewing at Wild Turkey, what's coming up next. Because my favorite distillery, and they almost never miss. Moving on to my number 1 whiskey I am most looking forward to in 2026. Before we get into it, make sure you've liked this video and subscribed to the channel. Please do let me know what's that whiskey you're looking forward to most in 2026. For me, Knob Creek 12-year cask strength. Alright, when this was first announced and the label came out, I was like, yes. You know, my mind immediately went back to the old days when we could get 12 to 15-year Knob Creek single barrel reserve picks. Only 120 proof there, but they're already making, you know, the cask strength single barrel picks now that are about 120 to 130. So not too much different than those single barrel reserves. I got such a deeper leather tobacco and rich nuttiness that came through on those older Knob Creek picks back in the day. I'm really hoping this Knob Creek 12 cask strength delivers those same kind of notes. Think about the regular 12-year right now. 100 proof, actually available in a lot of markets. I know a lot of people that say they can walk in and get it for like $50, or 50 to 60 bucks, I guess, at the most. For me, I had to get one at about 100, but it's really good. Even at 100 proof, it's still a really good flavor profile. Now let's amplify that to cask strength or barrel proof. I can't wait. I cannot wait. And I'm really looking forward to it. I do hope it kind of goes back to those old picks like I mentioned, like I had. I've had dreams about some of those old 13 to 15 year Knob Creek picks I've had back in the day that were almost barrel proof. Loved them so much. So this can get anywhere close to that, and let's hope availability is there. I'll say in general that Jim Beam as a distillery does a really good job making their whiskey available compared to some other distilleries out there. But don't need to mention any names, but you know. Jim Beam overall though does a very good job. You know, they do what they can, I feel like, and they have a lot of whiskey. Even with the pause in distilling of the one location they're going to have, they have a bunch of whiskey. So I'm hoping this will show up in our markets, and if it does, I can't imagine it's going to be listed at more than $100 at the most. If you can get the 12-year for $50 at some markets, let's think 70-ish, 70 to 80 bucks probably for the 12-year cask strength. And at that, I'll probably be buying multiple bottles, assuming it lives up to how delicious it sounds. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you watching the video. As mentioned, let me know, what is that whiskey, bourbon, scotch, rye, whatever that you're most looking forward to in 2026? A lot of things coming. A lot coming down the pipeline. A lot of other ones I could have mentioned. Had to limit it to just 5 I'm looking forward to. So appreciate y'all being here today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay insane.